All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be discussing the Week 5 MVP ladder, and what we're going to do in this segment is look at the top 5 best cases for MVP right now based on my opinion. So similar to the power rankings, these are going to shift around week to week. It's definitely performance-based. I think you guys are going to know majority of the people on these lists week in and week out. It's not very hard to figure out, but the thing that makes it interesting is what order you put these people in. So we're going to start here with number 5. I will admit could be somewhat of a stretch, but I have at 5 Saquon Barkley for the reason that he is basically the Giants' offense right now, and the Giants are 4-1. They're one of the most surprising teams in the NFL this year, and early on I wasn't buying into them because I had previously bought into the Giants back in 2021, and they were awful, and I regretted it. So I saw them get off to a nice start this year, and I was like, I don't really, I'm not willing to buy in on it until they beat the Packers. And, a lot of people out there say the Packers are a really good team. I'm not of that belief, but the fact that they did beat Aaron Rodgers to me is impressive. And Saquon, like I said, he's been their offensive engine. Daniel Jones has definitely held his own, but Saquon is the reason why this offense is booming. He has 533 yards, which is second in the NFL in rushing behind Nick Chubb. 3 touchdowns, 97 rushes, and like I said, the reason why I think he is in this conversation is just because of how good the Giants have looked thus far. Now, I don't actually think there's a realistic chance that Saquon would win this award, but he makes it into the top 5. It's extremely difficult for players to win MVP and not be a quarterback. I think that's why they kind of created the award Offensive Player of the Year, so they could give that to more of skill position players. I think Cooper Kupp won it last year. I know Derrick Henry's won that award before. So if Saquon keeps this pace up, he will probably be the favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year. But MVP, it's definitely a long shot. At number 4, we have Lamar Jackson. Now, if you wanted to put Lamar at 3 instead of 4, I'd be willing to listen to you, but I put him at 4 for this week. He has 1,067 passing yards, 12-5 touchdown interception ratio, 63.8% completion percentage. Rushing yards, 374 and 2 rushing touchdowns. The only reason why I don't think I'd put Lamar higher is because the Ravens are 3-2. If they were like 4-1, I would be more comfortable putting them higher. They probably should be 4-1. They shouldn't have lost that Dolphins game, and they definitely shouldn't have lost the Bills game. So I still think the Ravens are really good. If you watch the power rankings, they were, I believe, 6. So I still think Baltimore's good. They're going to be in it for this year. They're probably going to win that division, honestly. I mean, they just beat the Bengals. So I think they're going to win the division. They're going to be good. So as long as Lamar keeps going at this current rate, he's going to have a case to be made throughout the year, just for the fact that they're going to win a lot of games. And he had a really, really hot start to the year, maybe cooling down a little now. I was obviously good for them that they beat the Bengals, but I was surprised at how close it was. I honestly thought that the Ravens being at home, they were going to win that game more comfortably, but they did win. So that's why they were still on the power rankings. At 3, we have Jalen Hurts. Now, there's one stat that kind of sticks out to me that I think could be used against putting Jalen Hurts high on an MVP ladder, and that's his touchdown interception ratio is 4-2. Every other quarterback on this list has double-digit touchdowns. So that's probably the one stat that you can really use to discredit Jalen Hurts' MVP case. But there's 2 things to me that kind of go against that. Actually, 3. I mean, his passing yards, he only has like 40 less passing yards than Patrick Mahomes. So he does move the ball. It just means like they don't throw as much in the red zone. And he's just about as efficient. No, actually, he's more efficient throwing the ball this year than Mahomes or Allen. So that's really good, obviously. Rushing-wise, he has 266 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. So if you add that to his overall touchdowns, that's 10. So that does get him into double digits. And the number one reason why he's on this list is because they're 5-0. If he was putting up these numbers and they were like 3-2, then no, he wouldn't have an argument to be in this, but the fact that the Eagles are the only undefeated team in the NFL, they look dominant right now. That's why Jalen Hurts gets on the MVP ladder, because he's playing really good, plus they're a dominant team. So he's going to have a case throughout the year. I don't think the Eagles are going to go undefeated, obviously. It's virtually impossible to go undefeated in the NFL, but they're probably going to have the best record in the NFC. And having that combined with really good stats is going to make a very, very good argument for Jalen Hurts to win this award. So look for him to be in this conversation throughout the year. 2, we have Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I did have Mahomes. I had Mahomes higher. I had him at 1 last week. I was arguing that Mahomes should be an MVP. But this past week happened, and I was more surprised by the other guy's performance than by Mahomes' performance. It's not like Mahomes played bad against the Raiders, but the fact that it came down to a 2-point conversion that looked good to me by the Raiders, and also the Chiefs only won this game by 1 point. Now, most of that blame, I think, goes to the Chiefs' defense. They're pretty bad. I touched on that in the power ranking videos, that I think people were starting to overrate the Chiefs' defense, and they came back down to earth in that Raiders game. But the fact that they were at home and they only won by 1 point against a bad Raiders team, that just made Mahomes go down. And the reason why is because, like I said, the guy above him had a much more dominant performance this past week. But for Mahomes' stats, he has 1,398 passing yards, 15-2 touchdown interception ratio, which is phenomenal. 66.7 completion percentage. The Chiefs are 4-1, so he has really good numbers. I think it's honestly really going to come down to the top 2 here. The other guys, like Jalen Hurts, might have a chance if the Eagles stay super dominant. Lamar might have a chance if the Ravens turn it up a notch here. Saquon, like I said, I think he's more of an outside shot, but it's really going to come down to these 2. And of course, at 1, we have Josh Allen. He was the favorite to win the MVP going into the year. He currently has a league best 1,651 passing yards, which is more than 200 yards, almost 250 passing yards than Mahomes. 14-4 touchdown interception ratio, 66.8 completion percentage, and they have the same record as the Chiefs at 4-1. But the thing about Allen, obviously, is there's a different dynamic to his game. He's a far better rusher than Mahomes is, so he has 225 rushing yards and 2 TDs. And like I said, the reason why he's above Mahomes this week is for how bad he bludgeoned the Steelers. It didn't even look like we were playing defense out there. And I even said back in the power rankings video that, it looked like they were playing a college team. That's how dominant they were. It was 31-3 at half. That's how bad they spanked us. So just for how dominant that performance was, it gets Allen back up into the top spot, and it got the Bills back up to the top spot in the power rankings. But that's going to do it for the Week 5 MVP ladder. You guys let me know. I could be overreaching on the Saquon at 5 thing. I just really wanted to put him in there because I think what the Giants are doing is very interesting this year. But you guys let me know how you would do the order. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for listening.